Sometimes life will put you in a place that feels too heavy to carry. You look around and wonder why everything seems to be falling apart, why the people you trusted walked away, why the doors you prayed for never opened, and why your strength feels like it's fading. But what if I told you that the difficulty you're in is not a punishment, it's preparation? What if the struggle is not to destroy you, but to position you for favor? When God puts you in a difficult situation, he's not trying to break you. He's trying to build something inside of you that can't be developed in comfort. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified by fire. You can't become who you're meant to be without the pressure that refines you. So stop asking, why me? And start saying, what is this teaching me? Because the truth is, the pain you're feeling today is producing the strength you'll need tomorrow. Sometimes God isolates you so he can elevate you. You think you've been abandoned, but he's actually clearing distractions. You think you've been rejected, but he's really redirecting you. Don't mistake God's silence for his absence. Just because you can't feel him doesn't mean he's not working. Behind every closed door, every painful moment, and every lonely night, there's a divine setup unfolding in your favor. You see, favor doesn't show up in easy seasons. Favor shows up when everything goes wrong, but somehow still works out. Favor is when you're outnumbered, but still win. Favor is when people write you off, but God writes you back in. And the reason the situation is difficult is because God is getting ready to show you something that only happens in hard places. Every storm has a purpose. Every valley leads somewhere higher. The very thing you're fighting right now is the thing God will use to lift you later. Don't rush the process. Don't try to escape what's shaping you. Sometimes the blessing is not in what he gives, but in what he takes away. Because if you lost it, you didn't need it for where you're going. So hold on. Stay faithful in the fight. Keep trusting even when you don't understand. Because one day you'll look back and realize that the situation that broke you was the same one that built you. The struggle that made you cry was the same one that pushed you closer to your destiny. God didn't forget you, he positioned you. And when it's time, that difficult situation will unlock a level of favor you never imagined. When God allows you to face difficulty, it's not because he's punishing you, it's because he's preparing you. Every challenge, every delay, every moment of pressure is part of a divine process designed to strengthen what comfort could never develop. Growth doesn't come from ease, it comes from resistance. Just as muscles only grow when they're stretched and torn under pressure, your faith only matures when it's tested. The situation that feels too heavy is actually shaping you into someone capable of carrying greater blessings. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And when the season of growth comes, you'll rise stronger, wiser, and more rooted than before. There are moments when you'll ask, why would God let this happen to me? But what if he's not trying to take something from you, he's trying to prepare something for you? Sometimes he'll close a door to push you toward the one you never would have knocked on. He'll allow loss to teach you value. He'll use pain to reveal purpose. What feels like chaos is actually construction. God is building character, humility, and endurance inside you, layer by layer, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Preparation seasons are uncomfortable because they strip you of things that won't survive your next level. You can't take old habits, old fears, or old attitudes into a new season of favor. So he allows discomfort to detach you from what can't go with you. That's why some relationships fade, why opportunities dry up, and why plans fall apart. It's not rejection, it's refinement. He's removing everything that could limit what he's about to release in your life. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that every obstacle was an act of love. Every delay was divine timing. Every heartbreak was making room for healing. God's preparation often feels painful because he's not preparing you for where you've been, he's preparing you for where you're going. The difficulty is evidence that he's doing something deep inside you. And though the process is hard, the purpose behind it is holy. So the next time you find yourself in a season of struggle, remember, it's not punishment, it's preparation for something greater than you can imagine. Sometimes God will separate you from people, places, and things you thought you couldn't live without. It feels lonely, it feels confusing. You start questioning why certain relationships suddenly fade, why doors that once seemed open now slam shut, or why life feels quieter than it used to. But isolation is often God's way of elevating you. He's not trying to take you backward. He's trying to position you for something that requires solitude, focus, and growth. You can't hear divine direction when there's too much noise around you. So God allows certain connections to break because they can't handle where he's taking you next. Sometimes God will separate you from people, places, and things you thought you couldn't live without. It feels lonely. It feels confusing. You start questioning why certain relationships suddenly fade, why doors that once seemed open now slam shut, or why life feels quieter than it used to. But isolation is often God's way of elevating you. He's not trying to take you backward. He's trying to position you for something that requires solitude, focus, and growth. You can't hear divine direction when there's too much noise around you. So God allows certain connections to break because they can't handle where he's taking you next. When God sets you apart, it's rarely comfortable. You might feel abandoned, misunderstood, or overlooked, but it's not abandonment, it's alignment. He's aligning your spirit with your destiny. He's pruning distractions so that your heart can finally make room for purpose. You see, there are seasons where God hides you to heal you, separates you to shape you, and silences the world so you can hear his whisper more clearly. It's in isolation that visions are born. It's in solitude that strength is built. And it's in those quiet, hidden moments that you begin to realize who you really are without the world's validation. Many people pray for elevation but resist isolation. Yet you can't step into new levels surrounded by the same noise that held you back. Growth requires separation. You can't be molded in a crowd, you're shaped in private. God uses isolation to detox your spirit from dependency on approval, to shift your focus from people to purpose, and to teach you how to walk by faith, not by sight. That's why it hurts when he pulls you away, because he's cutting away everything that can't survive at your next level. So when you find yourself alone, don't see it as rejection, see it as redirection. The wilderness doesn't mean God left you, it means he's preparing you. He's removing what's temporary to make space for what's eternal. Isolation is not the end, it's the beginning of something greater. You're being positioned for elevation, and when the time is right, the same God who hid you will reveal you in a way no one can ignore. There are moments in life when you pray and it feels like heaven is silent. You cry out for answers, but nothing changes. You ask for direction, but no voice seems to respond. It's in those quiet seasons that many people start to doubt, wondering if God has forgotten them, if their prayers are being ignored, or if they're walking alone. But silence is not absence. Just because you can't hear God doesn't mean he's not speaking. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean he's not working. In fact, the silence is often the space where faith is truly tested and matured. When God is silent, he's often preparing something that your eyes can't yet comprehend. Think about a seed buried beneath the soil. You can't see what's happening under the surface, but life is forming. Roots are growing deeper before the sprout breaks through. That's how God works. He does his greatest work in the unseen. The silence is not a sign of his neglect, but a sign of his process. But he's working behind the scenes, aligning people, opportunities, and timing for your breakthrough. You may feel forgotten, but you're actually being formed. The challenge of divine silence is that it forces you to trust without evidence. It demands that you believe even when nothing around you confirms your belief. It's easy to have faith when doors open and prayers are answered instantly. But real faith is proven when you can still trust him when nothing makes sense. When you can say, even though I can't feel you, I know you're still here. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. That's the kind of trust that invites miracles. God's silence is not a punishment. It's a lesson in patience, perseverance, and spiritual maturity. Sometimes he withdraws his voice to see if you'll still seek his presence. He hides his hand to see if you'll still believe in his plan. And when you choose faith over fear in those silent seasons, something shifts within you. Your dependence deepens, your peace strengthens, and your vision sharpens. Because even in the silence, God is speaking through circumstance, timing, and inner conviction. He's still guiding your steps, even if you can't hear his voice. And when the time is right, the silence will break and you'll realize he was there all along working for your good in ways you never imagined. Favor doesn't show up when everything is easy. It shows up when life gets hard and you still stand. It shows up when people doubt you, when situations turn against you, when the odds are stacked so high that victory seems impossible, yet somehow you come out stronger, wiser, and blessed. That's what favor looks like. It's not comfort, it's covering. It's not the absence of struggle, it's the evidence that God is present in the middle of it. When you're walking in favor, things that should have broken you will end up building you. Things that were meant to block you will end up blessing you. God often reveals his favor in the fire. Look at the hardest seasons of your life, the ones that brought you to your knees. Those were the times you discovered what you were really made of. You learned resilience. You found clarity. You realized who was real and who wasn't. The fire that was meant to destroy you ended up defining you. And that's because favor doesn't exempt you from trials, it empowers you through them. It gives you strength to endure what others couldn't, and peace in places that don't make sense. That's supernatural favor, the kind that can't be earned, only revealed. Sometimes favor feels like failure because it doesn't come wrapped in blessings, but in battles. You might lose a job, a relationship, or an opportunity only to find out later that it was God's way of redirecting you towards something greater. You see, favor doesn't always look like open doors. Sometimes it's closed ones that save you from what would have destroyed you. It's protection disguised as disappointment. God's favor often hides behind frustration, but if you stay faithful through the fire, you'll see what he was doing all along. Favor also attracts opposition. The moment God begins to elevate you, the enemy begins to agitate you. That's because favor makes you a target. But even then, no weapon formed against you can prosper. You don't have to chase validation or prove your worth. Favor speaks louder than approval. When God's hand is on you, nothing can stop what he's ordained for you. The fire only proves that his favor is real because you came through what others didn't survive, and you came through shining. The very struggle you're facing right now, the pain, the pressure, the confusion is not random. It's the pathway to your destiny. Every great purpose is born through some kind of struggle. You can't reach the promise without first walking through the process. The situation that feels unbearable today is shaping you for the very thing you've been praying for. God uses hardship as the training ground for destiny. Before he elevates you, he equips you, and that equipping often comes through challenges that test your faith, your patience, and your perseverance. The struggle is not there to stop you, it's there to strengthen you. It's refining your character and stretching your capacity. It's teaching you lessons that success never could. You don't truly discover your potential when everything goes right. You discover it when everything falls apart and you still choose to move forward. The struggle exposes the power of God within you. It reveals the resilience that comfort hides. That's why you can't despise your hard seasons. They're the birthplace of growth. Every setback has a purpose. Every delay has a reason. When you face resistance, it's a sign that something valuable is on the other side. The enemy doesn't fight what doesn't threaten him. The heavier the battle, the greater the purpose behind it. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll see that every tear watered the ground for your breakthrough. Every sleepless night was a seed for your next season of peace. The very thing that tried to break you will end up blessing you. Sometimes God lets you struggle so that when the victory comes, you'll know it wasn't by your own strength. You'll know that grace carried you, that faith sustained you, and that his hand was on you the entire time. Struggle humbles you before success honors you. It teaches dependence before it releases destiny. And when the process is over, you'll walk with a strength and wisdom that only comes from surviving what was meant to destroy you. So even when it hurts, keep pressing forward, because this struggle isn't a detour, it's a doorway. What you're fighting through is the very thing that will unlock the purpose, the favor, and the destiny that's been waiting for you all along. Every battle, every delay, every lonely night, and every silent season has been part of something greater. You may not have seen it while you were crying, doubting, or questioning why, but God was building something inside you that only struggle could awaken. The difficulty wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The isolation wasn't rejection, it was elevation. The silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. The fire wasn't to burn you, it was to reveal the favor that has always been on your life. And the struggle wasn't to destroy you, it was to unlock your destiny. Everything you've gone through was designed to make you stronger, wiser, and more equipped for what's coming next. You were never meant to stay in the valley, you were meant to rise from it. The very thing that tried to break you is now the foundation of your breakthrough. So don't run from the hard places anymore. Don't curse the process that's shaping you.